Let me get everyone right here, please.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Not the latest. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And then we'll go back to the top and they'll bring. Yeah, she's coming back over to you guys.
Back over right, far right, far right. Watch him and then come back here this way. You don't.
Who's
And one more this way, please.
Look at her go.
And then if you come down.
One over this way, please.
The fascinating thing is when I first fell in love with this script 7 years ago, this extraordinary love story about Lili Elbe and Gerda Wegener. It was considered a difficult film to finance, a hard film to get made, and now people are saying it's timely, it's even an obvious film to make, and that's a sign that the culture has moved on with incredible speed in the last couple of years, and that is thanks to extraordinary trailblazing television like Transparent, Jill and Jeffrey and all their team. Well, it was amazing, really. I mean, to be in the White House and to have such prominent members of the LGBT community invited in, and for me to be invited in as an ally of that community was humbling and amazing, and to watch those 9 people being honoured. I don't think anything beats, being at the White House and with such an extraordinary president who I believe is the first president to even use the word transgender publicly, and for him to invite us into his home in this way to talk about the subjects and to allow us to screen Transparent and the Danish Girl. It's a very special day. So this is unique. Nothing's like Washington, not like this.
I started writing The Danish Girl 11 years ago, and I could not possibly have anticipated that we'd be releasing it in a climate like this. We spent years trying to get it made, being told that nobody was interested in the subject matter, and that the subject matter was commercial poison. And here we are today with this fabulous big film being released into this climate that I think is very, very ready for it. But today's event at the White House was incredibly exciting for us, Champions of Change event honouring activists in the LGBT community.
This is a story about Lili, and I remember when I read about the script, and I also went online and tried to Wikipedia and find information about her and also about Gerda, her partner. I was kind of surprised that for this groundbreaking, in one way, pioneer at that time, I couldn't almost find any information. And with that, I also felt, like everyone else, that this is really something that I was very honored to be part of, bringing this story to life and bring that out to the audience. We were invited to be part of this event called Champions of Change, together with a lot of people from the transgender community, a lot of people who have with media or film supported the awareness and spreading education about the LGBT community. So we were very honored to be invited and be part of some of the panels. Together with, we met a lot of the actors from the TV series Transparent, who are also here tonight.
I'm a trans man, so for me, any film that is reflecting or showing trans characters on screen in such a positive life as The Danish Girl, it's obviously pushing the narrative forward, it's getting the debate out there, it's making people think and talk about trans issues and realize that trans people, we're just the same as anybody else. So I think it's absolutely vital that these stories are being told. I mean, when I saw the film, I felt very emotional. When I heard that it was, obviously there's been this massive rise. It's been the tipping point for trans issues and trans people, I think, in the last year. So anything like this, the fact that it was such a big budget movie, starring one of my favorite actors, Eddie Redmayne, by one of my favorite directors, Tom Hooper, it was going to make a big impact and a big splash. And I think, I really hope that it does, because it's such an amazing story that people need to understand, and I think people will love it.
Tonight is a special screening of The Danish Girl, which is to coincide with President Obama's Champions of Change reception, which was held today at the White House. For The Danish Girl to be given this opportunity in the Capitol, I think is really important, because at the heart of the film is the story of one person's journey to be the person they should be.
Today is part of a Transgender Awareness Day and LGBT Awareness Day at the White House. We were here for Champions of Change, and Mr. Hooper and Miss Soloway, who is the creator of the show I'm On Transparent, were part of a panel discussion, and it's just been a very inspiring, incredible day. So we screened the first episode of season 2 of Transparent, and now we're all here to see The Danish Girl. Very excited. We were at the White House, and there was, one of our moderators, Alexander Billings, who's on our show, said not only would this panel not be happening, 10, 15 years ago, but it would be illegal not long ago for all of us to be there. So to be there, to have the stamp of approval of Obama, to have Valerie Jarrett there, Cruz spoke, it was a very moving and momentous day.
We were at the White House today, and we had a great panel discussion, and the Champions of Change, and it was a remarkable afternoon. And we actually showed a clip from our show, and we had a panel. It was amazing. It was just an amazing day. And I remember, it was huge, and the panels were interesting and transformative, and we're all still just so happy and so gratified that we got a chance to be here. This is the zeitgeist. This is timely, and it's nice to be a part of this movement. It's quite huge.
To think we could be at the White House and having a conference with transgender champions, I doubt it's ever happened before, and President Obama and his staff they're the champions in bringing this, the acceptance and bringing it to the attention of America.
It's a celebration of Transgender Awareness Week and a recognition of people in the arts and in community service that are raising awareness and fighting the fight.
So many people, I think, don't really know any trans people. So every time there's a new piece of media that allows people to get to know trans folk, it really changes the way people in this world understand the civil rights movement. So yeah, people will now know Lili, and they'll know another trans person.
The Danish Girl is an incredible story, a true story about Lili Elbe, who was an early trans pioneer, 1920s, was one of the first people to seek a medical intervention for gender reassignment. It's so important that these stories come to the forefront, especially as the trans movement gains momentum. It's so important that we know where we're coming from.
What's significant is we're finally getting trans stories told in a way that's honest and that's historical. Because remember, Lili was one of the first, well, I think the first actually, to have the SRS, and that's incredible. All of us as trans people walked into the White House and we're not only welcomed, but we're invited. That's extraordinary. I never in my life thought that something like that would be possible.
Thanks to Jill Soloway and Tom Hooper and people taking on LGBT stories, particularly around the trans narrative. It's really a special time, and we've seen leaps and bounds of progress over the past couple of years, so I'm just thankful to be a part of it.
I think for many of us who work in activism, we know that this change takes so long sometimes to get the policies and laws that we need on record, but we can actually start making the world a better place right now by arts and by films like The Danish Girl that really show the human nature that, in fact, we have more in common than we do have differences.
We're obviously at a point in America where stories about transgender individuals are being told much more widely on larger platforms and becoming more and more in the mainstream. And I think this film, of course, is very important in getting a diversity of stories out there.
This year feels very like the year of trans and transgender rights, and that's amazing. And I feel like the wave is starting to also include intersex people, and I just felt like very special to be a part of it, and that's why it felt surreal.
What a remarkable film. From start to finish, I was captivated. Eddie and cast are miraculous. And this first night, many people are going to applaud and sing the praises of this film, I assure you.
It's just a glorious love story. I mean, that's what I like most about it. It's really about true love and unconditional love, and how that kind of love can cross gender boundaries and sexual boundaries, and I just think it's quite an extraordinary love story.
Tell me even